Once upon a time, in the golden lands between the Tigris and the Euphrates, there stood a city unlike any other. A city of light, power, and faith. A city called Babylon. Its towers touched the clouds. Its walls stretched across the desert like a serpent of stone. Within those walls, kings dreamed of eternity. And in the very heart of that dream, one wonder rose above them all: the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. They were said to be so beautiful that even the gods themselves paused to admire them. Cascading terraces of green, sparkling waterfalls glistening under the sun, and the scent of flowers drifting through the desert air. But the strange truth is, no one has ever found them. No ruins, no stones, only words carried across centuries, fragments of a story between myth and memory. The story begins with King Nebuchadnezzar II, the mighty ruler of Babylon in the 6th century BCE. He conquered lands, built empires, and filled his city with wonders, temples, ziggurats, palaces of gold. Yet behind the power of the king was a single, quiet reason. Her name was Amytis, his queen. Amytis came from the green mountains of Media, a faraway land where rivers sparkled and the air was cool. When she came to Babylon, a city surrounded by dust, heat, and endless desert, she longed for the hills of her homeland. So Nebuchadnezzar made her a promise. He would bring her mountains to Babylon. He would build her a paradise in the heart of the desert. And so the legend of the Hanging Gardens began. The terraces rose one above another, each filled with trees, flowers, and flowing water. Palm trees and cedars, roses and lilies, plants from distant lands gathered to honor his queen. The gardens were said to have been built on great stone arches, layer after layer, each terrace supported by columns of brick and bitumen. Beneath them, hidden chambers and tunnels carried water from the Euphrates River. Some say an enormous chain-driven system, a kind of ancient machine, lifted the water high into the terraces, feeding the roots of thousands of plants. If true, it would have been one of the earliest feats of hydraulic engineering in human history. Imagine it. Green leaves trembling in the desert wind, water falling in silver ribbons from terrace to terrace, the sun casting golden light over marble and stone. It must have looked like heaven on earth. But centuries passed. Empires fell. And Babylon, the city of kings, was swallowed by the sands of time. When explorers and historians came centuries later, they found nothing. No gardens, no ruins, no trace at all. So the question remains, did the Hanging Gardens ever really exist? Some ancient writers, like Strabo and Diodorus Siculus, spoke of a great garden built in Babylon. But others, including Herodotus, the father of history, never mentioned it at all. Was it lost to time, or never real to begin with? Modern archaeologists have searched for clues. Some found ancient foundations near the river, and traces of irrigation channels carved into stone. Others believe the garden may have stood not in Babylon, but in the Assyrian city of Nineveh, hundreds of miles to the north. In 1990, a British scholar named Stephanie Dalley proposed that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were actually the gardens of King Sennacherib of Assyria. The sun integrated with palace canals. Their writings described a water-lifting machine that matches the legend perfectly. If Dalley was right, history may have confused Babylon and Nineveh, turning two stories into one magnificent myth. Still, the image of Babylon's Hanging Gardens endured. They appeared in Greek scrolls, in Roman mosaics, in medieval manuscripts filled with gold ink. Artists painted them as a symbol of lost perfection, a paradise built by human hands, then swallowed by time. And perhaps that is the true reason the story survived. Not because it was real, but because people needed it to be. A dream of harmony between man and nature, of love strong enough to build mountains in the desert. Time passed, the rivers changed their course, the city crumbled into dust. But even as Babylon vanished beneath the sands, the story of the gardens lived on. Maybe they never existed, or maybe they did. and time simply erased their stones, leaving only the memory of beauty. Today, we still imagine them. Terraces rising above the horizon, the whisper of water in the desert wind, and the scent of flowers no one has smelled for 2,000 years. The hanging gardens of Babylon, a wonder that defies time, a legend that blooms only in dreams.